Okay, hello, good afternoon from Canada. My name's Joanna, if we've not met before, and I'm going to be guiding a bi-weekly live yoga class today. This is a 45-minute practice every other week with either myself or another faculty member. And every time we come on the platform to teach this class, we decide what we're going to teach based on what we're currently exploring as practitioners and as teachers, or things that we're going through at this time that we feel are resonating with us that we want to share with you. Similarly to how you might structure the way you teach in your public settings, we are influenced by what is going on around us, and the experiences we're having may dictate what and how we teach. So the reason I'm saying all that is because I've just come off the back of a long haul flight. So I flew 9 hours in one direction and then 9 hours back in the other direction over a period of 10 days. So there's a lot of travel in a short amount of time. And obviously, as you know, when you travel, it comes with all sorts of compromises in terms of your practice, because often you don't have all the space that you require to feel as comfortable as you can when you travel. And so I wanted to really gear this class around that post-travel self-care. So we're going to be looking today at a yin style practice that cultivates more length and space in the body to diminish any of that kind of compact, contracted feeling you might have had during travel, but also to help with releasing any stress that sometimes comes with travel, or any disturbances to your routines that are maybe having an impact on digestion or sleep. So I just wanted to create a practice that was creating length and space in the physical body, but was also super soothing and nourishing and grounding on your nervous system to help you kind of reset. So for today's yin practice, you might see on my mat, I have a bolster, the long bolster, and a blanket. And then I also have two blocks to the side there with an eye pillow on top. So if you have access to those props, then please bring them to your mat. If you don't have access to all those, bring the things that you have, makeshift with cushions or pillows off the couch or the bed. Use thick books. Don't feel like you have to practice on a yoga mat either today. I almost didn't. I thought it might be nice just to practice on the carpet. So feel free to use what you have to hand. Also, bearing in mind that when you travel, you don't necessarily have all of the things that you would normally have with you. So just being creative with the space and the tools that are around you. Once you have all your things, I'll meet you on your mat. We'll start with a little pranayama. So feel free to ground yourself on your mat with the hips elevated on a bolster. Maybe the blanket under your ankles can be quite comforting. Feel free to add the blocks under your hips or knees as needed. The pranayama I'd like us to begin with is Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. This is a balancing breath exercise, so that if you are feeling a little off kilter from your travel, this might help you come back to that place of center and equilibrium and hopefully peace. So for this breath, if you've not done it before, please take your dominant hand. This breath is not going to be for everybody, so if you have a go at it and it just does not feel right today, no problem. Just release the hand and just come in and out of a regular breath as best you can, in and out through the nose. But if that's not comfortable, try just the breath in through the nose and the breath out through the mouth. But if you're going to be joining in for the practice, you'll want to firstly take the dominant hand and tuck your middle and ring finger in to your palm. You're going to use your pinky finger and your thumb as little plugs for your nostrils, and I like to place the index finger on my third eye. People have different ways of setting this up. You can have all three of your middle fingers on your third eye, or you could tuck all three of those fingers into your palm and just use thumb and pinky finger, or some people prefer thumb and ring finger as the plugs for the nostrils. Have a play, see what works best for you. Once you've found the correct setup for your hand and for the plugs for your nose, just bring that hand close to the nose but without touching it yet. And we're just going to start with a few rounds of breath in and out through both nostrils. So when you're ready, take a breath in through the nose and a breath out through the nose. Breath in through the nose. Breath out through the nose. Plug your right nostril. Inhale through the left for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold both nostrils. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale right nostril. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale right nostril. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale left. 4, 3, 2, 1. One more round. Inhale left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the nose. Take a breath in through the nose. Breath out through the mouth. And then just settle into your Sukhasana, your tall seat. Settle into a regular breath and simply notice how that breath has impacted your physical body. When you're ready, take an inhale breath and sweep both of your arms up to the sky. Interlace your fingers and then you turn your palms up to the sky as you inhale to the top of your lungs. As you exhale, round your spine, chin to chest, press your hands forwards, press your tailbone forwards, and press your middle back towards the back of your space. Breathe around your shoulder blades. Inhale, roll up through the spine till your arms are above your head. Exhale, round the spine, chin to chest. Draw the tailbone forwards, hands pressing forwards. One more cycle. Inhale all the way back up. And exhale to round. Stay here this time and just allow your arms to move slightly over to the right and then slightly over to the left, and just notice how sensation might change as you move these arms right and left. Maybe there's more space created down the sides of the spine. And then rest your hands to your lap and roll up through your spine until your head is lifted. Take an inhale, lift your shoulders up. Exhale, roll your shoulders down your back. And again, inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders back and down. One more cycle all the way up. And exhale, back and down. I'd love for us to come in our first yin hold. It's Sphinx pose, and I'm going to give you options to use props for this today. So depending on your back sensitivity. So first of all, come onto your hands and knees and make sure your props are nearby so you can grab them in a moment. Once you're on your hands and knees, start to bend your elbows and lower all the way down to your belly. From here, place one hand on top of the other and rest your forehead to your hands. Untuck your toes and just check that your legs are at least hip distance apart, so not too close together, and just in a comfortable, relaxed state. And just begin to rock your legs and your hips side to side to start releasing tightness that might have built up in the hamstrings and in the lower back from travel. And maybe add some nice breath into your lower belly. For some people, this is going to be enough sensation because your forehead is to your hands, so there's a gentle lift of the cervical spine, and this will be enough back bend for you. If that's the case, stay here. If you want to come a little bit further, you're going to lift your chin a little higher. Place your arms out in front of you so that they are shoulder distance apart and parallel. You can see both forearms and hands in front of you. Your chest is a little more lifted off the floor, which in turn is creating more compression in your back. Just check in, make sure this all feels okay. If it does, stay here. If you want more, you could walk your elbows back underneath your shoulders. Roll the shoulders down your back. Energetically project your chest forwards as you energetically hug your elbows back. This is Sphinx pose. Try not to contract or squeeze in your glutes or hamstrings. Keep those legs relaxed. Here's where the props might be handy. If this is feeling a little strenuous on your shoulders or arms, maybe you slide your bolster or rolled up blanket under your rib cage. And then let your ribs rest onto that prop. Keep your arms back out in front of you, forearms parallel, shoulder distance apart, but this might give you a little more comfort. So the reason for coming into Sphinx pose post-travel is because there is a tendency when we travel to be in a more rounded, forward folded position. The upper body's sort of contracting in the forwards direction. And we often don't have the space to come into any type of back bend or create any kind of space for the vital organs of the digestive system. So that's what this pose is for. It's creating lots of lovely space in the front body. You've got the opportunity to softly breathe into your lower belly in and out of the floor. You're creating a gentle, healthy compression on the back of the spine and length along the front of your spine. Further to this, if you'd like a bit more, you could try floating your feet and shins away from the floor and keeping your thigh bones heavy to the mat. You could wiggle your toes here and roll your ankles. And try and keep your head neutral, meaning try not to tuck your chin in too far to your chest. Try not to lift the head too high. Try and look just in front of your mat. Equal length on all sides of your neck. And then you can close your eyes here as we take a few more breaths. Give yourself 3 more breaths here. And then you can start to lower your feet if they're not already. Remove any props under your ribs and lower your chest back to the floor, stacking one hand on top of the other, forehead to the hands, and exhale your breath. Maybe you rock again side to side across your legs and hips if that creates a nice release. We're now going to focus on any tightness you might be experiencing in the lower back or in the hips. So we're going to come into half frog pose, which can also be a really nice release for any sciatic issues. We're going to begin by placing our right ear either onto our hands, or you could put your blanket or your bolster under your right ear. Bend your left knee and slide your left knee towards your left armpit. Now nuzzle the front of your pelvis directly down to the mat. So try not to let the left hip rise high. Try and hug that right hip down to the floor. And make any little adjustments you need to your chest, to your pelvis, so that your body feels like it can get comfortable and grounded here. This is creating a lovely release in the inner leg lines of the adductor muscles, which may also have been contracted or tight during travel. And it's also creating this lovely release in the hips and lower back. Equally, if you're focusing your breath down into the lower belly, you might also be creating a grounding sensation, a calming sensation in the body with those vital organs close to the earth, and be providing the digestive system with a gentle massage, all through the use of lower belly breathing. And that breath does not have to be forced. It's quite gentle, but you can just feel the attention is down to the belly, and you can feel the belly rising and falling into your mat. You can close your eyes here. If anyone would like more, you could play with extending your left leg long and straight and out to the left, and then just wiggling that left foot up and along the side of your mat to increase the sensation in that inner leg, and maybe start to feel sensation into the back of the leg, into the hamstring. Let's take 3 more breaths on this side. Of course, if you have longer today, you can always extend the time you are in each of these poses, no problem. If your left leg is long, start to soften at the knee, bend the leg in and slide left leg down to meet the right. And then you're just slowly going to turn your head the other way now. So your left ear is either to your hands or your bolster or your blanket underneath you. Your right knee is going to bend up the side of your mat towards your right armpit. And you're going to settle the front of your pelvis into the floor with your chest. Eyes soft or closed. Breath into the lower belly. Breath around the hips. And again, if it feels good on this side, you could play with extending that right leg long and straight and out to the right and wiggling that right leg up the side of your mat. 3 more breaths here. And then start to soften that knee and bring your legs back to meet one another. Place your forehead to your hands and rock your hips side to side one last time. Plant your hands either side of your rib cage on the mat. Press down into the hands and make your way onto your hands and knees. Exhale your breath there and maybe just move organically, rocking the hips side to side, maybe cycling through cat-cow, rounding and arching the spine if that feels good. Basically awakening the spine to more fluidity, more movement, any way that feels good. And then we'll meet on our seat with the legs in front of us. And feel free to just check in and see how it feels to sit upright, especially if the hamstrings are feeling particularly tight or the lower back's feeling particularly tight. So if you notice that your back is rounded, your feet feel really far away, your pelvis is tilting backwards, it might mean that you will want to add a block underneath your seat. And the reason we do this is so that we can add a little bit of height. We can wiggle our pelvis right to the edge of that block, which is going to help us tilt the pelvic bowl in a forwards direction, which is the direction we want to go in. And you might find that that allows you to sit a little bit taller. If the legs feel very tight, slide your rolled up blanket or bolster under the knees. And then do check that your legs are your hip distance apart, so not too close together because that's going to add contraction to the hip flexors. Make sure there is space so your legs are parallel, hip distance apart, and that will give you the room to hinge forwards. And that's what we're going to do. We're coming into Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. So both hands on your thighs, whether you have props underneath you or not. Inhale, sit nice and tall. And then exhale, hinge forwards from your hips and begin to slide your hands down your legs. Now try not to round the back. Try and imagine your heart is going to touch your toes. So there is length through your entire spine. Your chest is nice and open, and that will give you the maximum stretch into the hamstrings and down the backs of the legs. Whereas when we round the spine, you might feel more of the stretch showing up along the length of the spine than in the legs. So just play with that. Notice what it feels like to round the back. Notice what it feels like to lengthen the spine. You might notice that when you lengthen the spine, you don't hinge forwards as far. And that's fine because the quality is still there. You're still getting that stretch in your legs, which is what we want. We want to create space for the backs of the legs because often when we travel, we are sitting for long periods of time. You can either rest your hands on your legs or on the mat, or for some of you, you might wrap your hands around your feet. Just be mindful if you are choosing that option that you're not lifting your shoulders up to your ears. So keep the shoulders soft, length in the neck, collarbones wide, and chest leaning forwards. And then you can look down at the floor in between your two legs, trying not to tuck the chin in too close to the chest or extending the chin or jutting the chin forwards. Again, think about keeping length in all sides of the neck. So as you can imagine, this pose is beautiful post-travel. We're very often needing to create lots of space in the back lines of the body, and this is the perfect pose for that because you truly are getting a stretch from the soles of your feet, up the backs of your legs, up the spine, into the back of the neck. There's even a line of fascial tissue that connects from the crown of the head all the way down those back lines and into the soles of your feet. So super, super important that we create as much length and space as we can so that the back of our body feels supple and open. And that will allow us to remain mobile and flexible and receptive. All things that are useful when you travel. Let's take another 5 breaths here. Like I said, if you want to spend longer in these poses, feel free. Hands can slide up the legs as you roll up through the back and come all the way to sit up. Now, if you have a prop under your pelvis, you're going to remove that. If you would like to add a little cushioning behind your head, feel free, as we are going to lie down now. And it can be quite nice to elevate the head slightly, especially if you get any dizziness, vertigo, or have high blood pressure. Just lifting the head a little higher than the heart might suit you. You can keep your bolster where it is if it's already on your mat. And then you're just going to roll down, connect the back of your head to the mat or your prop, and then have your feet flat on the floor in parallel. We're going to press down into the feet, we're going to lift the pelvis up, and then we're going to slide a prop of your choice under the pelvis. I'm choosing the bolster, but feel free to use a block, a rolled up blanket, or you can keep your pelvis on the floor. Don't feel like you have to elevate the pelvis. Place your hands on the floor, and we're going to target the hip flexors next. So again, a sticky spot, an area that contracts a lot when we travel, when we sit a lot for long periods of time, an area that needs lots of attention. So we're going to hug the right knee to the chest, hold onto the right shin or hamstring, and then play with sliding your left leg down the mat. For some of you, you will lengthen the left leg entirely. For others of you, you will keep a soft bend in the left knee. If your left leg is completely straight, flex your left foot and push the left heel forwards to deepen this stretch. Right knee coming to the chest. Again, make sure that there's a nice space between your chin and your chest so the neck is equal on all sides. And notice where you're feeling this stretch. For a lot of us, it will be in the left hip flexor, on the front of the left hip, and into the psoas, which wraps around your inner left thigh, all the way up and around your left hip bone and then wraps into your T11, T12 in your thoracic spine. And this psoas is the big stabilizing muscle of the body. It literally connects your upper body to your lower body. And it's often very tight and it's deep set in the body. And when it's so tight, it can lead to lots of hip and back discomfort. So this is a great pose post-travel to come into to release any tension or tightness you might be experiencing there. There's also the option to take the right leg into half happy baby. So you can flex your right foot into the sky, wrap your right hand around the outside of the right foot, and then let that right knee go a bit wide and down towards your right armpit. If you would prefer to hold on to your right ankle or behind the right leg, you can do that too. If it feels better to keep the right knee to the chest, then please stick with that. Feel free to close your eyes now and breathe down into the spaces where you're feeling this stretch. Begin to hug that right knee back into your chest now. Place the right foot to the floor, followed by the left foot. And just readjust your position if needed. Take a nice big breath in and a cleansing breath out. We'll do that exact same exercise to the other side. So the left knee's coming into the chest, hands around the left shin or hamstring. Try and avoid holding the knee joint if you can. And begin to slide your right leg down the mat, pushing away with the sole of your right foot. Shoulders relaxing into the floor, collarbones wide. Breathing in and out of your lower belly. Wrap your breath around your right hip. And if you explored it on the first side, you can play with half happy baby here on the second side. Or even if you didn't do it on the first side, maybe this side would feel better in half happy baby. So always know that the body is not symmetrical. And we don't always have to do everything completely equal, right and left side, if it just doesn't quite feel right today. Begin to guide the left knee back to the chest, and this time play with bringing both knees into the chest. Hug the knees close, and as you do this, you might notice your middle back sinking more into the mat and the back of your pelvis tilting up to the sky a bit more. From here, you might play with floating your two legs into the sky, Viparita Karani. If your legs feel steady, you might float your arms up too. And then begin to roll your wrists, your ankles, wiggle your fingers and toes. You can also do this pose against a wall where you would slide your pelvis as close to the wall as you can and then bring your legs up the wall with your heels resting to the wall. The rest of your back would be on the floor, so you'd be in an L shape. And this pose, whether you're doing it in the middle of the room or against a wall, is a wonderful post-travel pose because you are sending deoxygenated blood from the feet back towards the heart. So it's almost like you're giving your body a flush, a little detox. You are helping to reduce water retention, swelling, that sometimes we can experience with long haul travel. And this pose is super calming on your nervous system. So it can help with sleep. It can help with grounding our energy, just calming us down, helping us to self-regulate. So you can stay here for up to 10 minutes or longer if it feels good. You might start to notice a cooling through your hands and feet. Make sure that you're relaxing those wrists, elbows, and shoulders. There's a softness through your knees and ankles. You might take a couple of audible exhale breaths when you're here. If you have longer, of course, feel free to stay here. Or now start to lower your arms, soften your knees. Place one foot at a time onto the floor. And then maybe shuffle your feet as wide as your mat. Rest your knees into one another, hands on your lower belly, and just enjoy the sensations returning to your hands and feet. Shuffle your feet back into parallel, hands on the earth. Press down into the feet and lift the pelvis if you have a prop underneath you, and then just slide that prop to one side. Roll slowly down your back until your pelvis is to the floor, and then take a full body stretch, reaching your arms away from your legs, point your toes, stretch your fingers, take an inhale. As you exhale, flex your feet and start to walk your heels over to the right as far as you can. Keep going, keeping your pelvis facing the ceiling, back of the pelvis to the floor. Option to lift your head, shoulders, and arms up and over to the right now. Take your little cushion for your head. So now your body's in a banana shape, a C shape. Option to cross your ankles. I like left over right on this side, but feel free to do the other side if you prefer. And then wrap your right hand around your left wrist and let the backs of your hands touch the floor, or if they don't reach, bend the elbows some more, or maybe slide props under the hands. You can extend your arms as long as is comfortable for your shoulders. We're looking for a stretch into the left side of the body, creating maximum length under the arm, into the waist, around the hip. Let your breath sweep up and down the left side of your body and soften or close your eyes. Begin to slowly uncross your ankles and wrists and walk your heels back to center first. And then lift your head, shoulders, and arms back to center. And guide your arms slowly down by your sides and exhale your breath. Just enjoy space and time in between sides, noticing any difference between right and left in this moment. We'll do that same shape to the other side. So inhale, stretch through your arms and legs, point your toes. Exhale, walk your heels over to the left as far as you can, keeping the legs long. Inhale, lift your head, shoulders and arms up and over to the left. And exhale here. Maybe cross the ankles, maybe wrap the left hand around the right wrist. Maybe extend the arms long or keep more bend through the elbows. Maybe add props under the hands. We're looking for length in the side body, but we're not looking for any pain. So where is that happy place of effort and relaxation? Can you yield your body more into your mat as you breathe out? Becoming more grounded and more receptive to the floor. And then uncrossing your ankles, walking the heels back to center, uncrossing the arms and walking the head, shoulders and arms back to center, softening those arms down by your sides, exhaling your breath, finding the middle of your mat. If you have more time today, I encourage you maybe now to explore a twist, a reclined twist right and left for the spine. As we're running out of time, I'm going to bring you into Shavasana. So you can start to slide maybe the bolster under the knees, maybe you grab your eye pillow, put over your eyes, maybe you add a blanket over your body or fold it under your head. Make sure you are wide across the floor, toes turned out, palms facing up. Muzzle the shoulders underneath you, back of the head nice and heavy. Give yourself plenty of time here to settle in, get quiet and still, and soak up the benefits of this practice. I hope this practice has allowed you to feel more spacious in your body. Has helped you to release any tension or tightness from travel. I hope you feel centered. Maybe this has been an opportunity to recharge, to reset. Whatever benefits you're taking from your practice, use your Shavasana as that time to download, to digest, to soak up the practice. I will leave you here in Shavasana. Please take as long as you need, there is no rush, and come out of Shavasana when you are good and ready. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you take this practice with you whenever you need it, whenever you travel. And I look forward to us practicing together again soon. Until then, namaste.